Hey, what's up? So, Gran Turismo 7 is now out, which means it's time for me to make another steering wheel settings video. Things are pretty similar to how they were in Gran Turismo Sport. And, excuse my driving, I'm using a controller right now, and I suck with the controller. But to access these settings, I think the only place you can see them is if you're actually driving a car. You have to hit pause and then go down to controller settings over here. And then right here, it's these two settings here, which are for the wheel. The controller steering sensitivity is if you're using DualSense controller or DualShock 4, whatever. But the game starts you off at 5 and 5, and with my wheel, that's actually too much. Like, especially on the torque, because if you set the torque setting too high, you can actually, go beyond the capabilities of your wheel, because the wheel just can't reproduce the forces it's being asked to deliver to you, basically. It comes in a waveform, and basically, if the wheel can't do it as strong as the game wants it to, it clips off the top of the waveform. So basically, you lose some of the dynamics of the feedback that you should be getting. So that's why you want to avoid putting that too high. With the T300, it does depend on the car you're driving, but like this car in particular, if you set it at 5, it's already too much. Like, you can feel that you're not feeling as much difference in the feedback as you should be. But the force feedback sensitivity setting is basically a basic damper effect. It means that you'll have more resistance to turn the wheel if you set it higher. The problem is it also obscures the feeling of the road and the bumps on the road and stuff, and the tires itself, which is why I like it low, and 1 or 2 works with the wheel I'm using. I don't know if I said it, but I'm using a Thrustmaster T300, which is a pretty common wheel. If you're using a different wheel, basically, I'll just guide you through the process that I go through to figure out what is best. So put them both at 1, drive a little bit, then put it up at 2, and repeat this process incrementally. I would say start with the torque until you get it at a level that feels like it's not too much, but it's as high as it can be without, like I said, without there being clipping. You want to avoid clipping, again, causes wear and tear in your wheel, and yeah, it takes away from the feedback you're actually getting. But the sensitivity thing, I would say do the same, increase it 1 at a time, drive a little bit just to get a feel for what it's like. I would say even jump it up to 10, just so you know exactly what that setting does. And then go back to, doing it 1 at a time. And then once you get it at a level that you like, drop it back down to 1 and see if that feels better to you, because it definitely might. Like I said, you feel more of the road, which I think is better. It's more immersive, and also it does help your driving, just because if you can feel the road and the tires more, you can feel the amount of grip that you have better too. So that's why I like it low. But yeah, 1 or 2 is good for the T300, but no matter what wheel, hopefully I've given you an idea of how to dial it in perfectly for your specific wheel. Luckily, there's only 2 settings, so it's not that complicated to figure out. Now, the controller settings, they're mostly personal preference, but here's the sensitivity setting. I like it high, but then there's also an adjustment for the vibration and the triggers. And I would say, out of any racing game, I think this game feels the best to play with a controller. Like, it is really good with the DualSense in particular, just because of the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. Though some people might not like the adaptive triggers, so you'll be happy to know that you can shut that off. I kind of like it on strong for the brake or weak, and for the accelerator, I would say either weak or off, but it's, like I said, totally personal preference. And vibration strength is also something you can increase or decrease. It starts off at 100. I like 120. Feels really good on the DualSense controller. But yeah, sometimes they do updates that do change these settings. So if that happens, I'll pin a comment at the top of this video and maybe make another video like I had to with GT Sport. But otherwise, I'll see you guys for Gran Turismo 8 in 6 or 7 years. Who knows? Later.